Hi, my name's Tracy Malix, owner-operator of Gator Grip and Lighting here in Rapid City and Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And today we're going to be talking about some very important pieces of equipment that you're going to find on every single movie and TV set out there, the C-Stand. Now you might be thinking, okay, it's just a stand, what can it do? It can hold lights, it can hold flags, it can hold nets, you can use it for rigging, but what we're going to be talking about today is the different types of C-Stands that we actually have and the proper way to set them up. The first C-Stand I'm going to talk about, it's kind of a spring-loaded C-Stand, and what I mean by spring-loaded is it's always down here at the base. So let me just kind of show you. So I'm going to go ahead and collapse the legs just like that. It's just kind of a friction-based way of collapsing and bringing the legs out. And the reason for this, it's easy for transportation when you do pack them up. And again, I'm going to open it back up. This is one way to do it. Always check behind you. Make sure you're not going to knock somebody in the face. Always look above you. Make sure you're not going to hit any lights that may be hanging down or the ceiling. If you're in a place where you can't swing it over your shoulder like this, a lot of times I'll just flip it upside down. And what you'll do is you place a C-Stand on your foot. That way you don't scratch the floor and you can just go ahead and just start popping out the legs like you want. Now come and take a look at this as well. As you're doing this, there's little notches right here. That's where you want to make sure the C-Stand locks into place. If not, it's not set up properly, it could fall and we don't want any danger on set. Boom. That's your first one. Now the next C-Stand I'm going to show you is this guy right here. This is called a sliding or Rocky Mountain leg. And what I mean by that is, take a look at how this one collapses. Again, there's a little knob right here. Just going to loosen that up. And these legs will actually move like that. So it's not spring loaded. And that's how this one will collapse. Now what is the importance of a Rocky Mountain or sliding leg? Well, let me just kind of show you here. So like this, it can sit down normal, just like its counterpart over here. Well, let's say you're on some stairs. And so what you want to do here, you can adjust the leg anywhere you want along the length of the stem here on the C-Stand. That way you can make sure you have a nice surface. Again, this is great when you're on stairs. Maybe you're shooting outside, you're a little bit on a hillside or so forth. So this is what's going to be great in that situation. And then always bag your legs. Now, when you do bag your legs, it's very important to always put the bag on the big leg. So right here, this is where the weight goes, okay? Now, if I took the sandbag, I'm going to just put it on the smallest one. Where's all my weight? It's on the ground. It's not keeping the stand safe. So all the weight is not where it needs to be. So again, boom, boom. You always want to put it on the big leg no matter what, okay? Because 99% of the time, all the weight is going to be over the big leg. You never want to put something on that's armed out on the C-Stand, maybe over here, because it's going to fall like that. You always try to arm the weight out over the big leg. I can't push it forward to where it would tip. Now also on this, we have your arm and your knuckles here. And this is kind of what you can use to arm something out. You put a light on the end of the stick, you can flip it around. You do have your knuckle here with different types of receivers in it, so you can put different flags and styles of stuff in there and other clamps. And I always keep the knuckles on the right side of the big leg when I'm standing behind the stand. It's very important to do this because let's say you have something heavy right here. You put it here, you don't tighten it down too much, you know, because you're in a hurry, and then the weight of the item starts pulling this down. But luckily, if it's on the right side, as it pulls it down, this is going to get tighter and it tightens itself up. So it's kind of a self-tighten. Now, if we had this flipped around to where my knuckles are on the left side, now the weight is going to the left. So it's not going to tighten, it's going to fall and you could hurt somebody. So always make sure that your knuckles are on the right side of your stand, because safety is always the most important thing on set, and as a key grip on set, that is one of your primary roles that you always want to deal with. Got another C-Stand for you to talk about. This is the third type of C-Stands for you, and this one's called a turtle stand. I know, adorable name, right? So the turtle stand, come down here, it looks like a sliding leg. I'm going to loosen this. I can just take the stem right out of this. And the reason for this now is what this would basically be as a junior receiver stand. So you can put things, lights or other pieces of equipment on here into the junior receiver, so it can be something mounted way down low. Also, you can take the stem out, put it on some larger stands so you can get maybe an extra little bit of height out of there. Now, these are all considered 40-inch C-stands, okay? But there's also a 20-inch C-stand. That's this little cute guy over here. So this is a baby C-stand. And again, they come in the same 3 varieties: sliding leg, spring-loaded, or Rocky Mountain. So those are the 3 different types of styles, 2 different sizes. There are a few other little sizes that might have a little bit of a smaller mini base, but that's about it. So these are very versatile stands that we do have on set. We use them all the time. They're great for anything that you want to use on set. Now, some other very important things you need to know when you're working with C-stands is to make sure they're set up properly. Now, don't feel bad if you set up a C-stand improperly. If you don't know how to use one, I know it sounds very simple, but certainly ask somebody that would know, because you don't want anybody to get hurt on set. Now, this C-stand kind of looks like it is set up properly, but it's really not. This is way too narrow. It's not locked into those latches there. So it's easy, fall over. Somebody's getting bopped on the head, they're gonna have a bad day. All right, so again, make sure those are locked in those notches. Make sure everything's tight. So again, safety is always key. Now, another little quick pointer I'm going to give you is the proper way to grab a C-stand, because there is an improper way to do it. Grab it like this, okay? Never grab like this, because when you hand it off to somebody, they might grab it this way. They're going to squish your fingers. It's not going to feel great. So make sure you grab it right, always on the outside. It's the best way to do it. Now, a lot of people want to know, okay, how much sandbags or dirt bags do you actually want to put onto a stand? Well, the rule of thumb that I've always been taught, and it does vary a little bit, but a rule of thumb is every time we go up on a riser, I'm going to add another sandbag. Now, if I'm outside and it's a little bit windier, you might have to use some guidelines to help tie it down, but you definitely want to bag it just to make sure that it's going to be nice and firm and sturdy and nobody's going to get hurt. When you're shooting on location, many times you're actually shooting in somebody's house or apartment or in a business. And let's say you're shooting in an older place that has really nice wood floors. You don't want to scratch them. How do you protect those floors? A tennis ball. Simple as that. All you gotta do is you just take a straight edge blade here. I already cut this one. You're gonna cut about a 2-inch to 3-inch little hole right here. Okay, so now you got yourself a little Pac-Man. And then you can actually put it on the legs of the stand. It would just fit right on. Whoop. Now you can go ahead and protect that floor. You put them on every single leg. Or let's say, for example, you're arming something out like this. For whatever reason, this is at this height. I always try to avoid this, but every so often you can't help it. And if that's the case, somebody could lean into it, put an eye out. We don't want that to happen. So again, you can take the tennis ball, boom, put it right on there. You can protect people on set. So very handy little thing. You can get these anywhere. Another tip I'm going to give you about a C-stand, or any stand in particular, is when you do go up on the riser, you always want to start on the top one. Why? Well, let me show you. I started here on the bottom one. I'm not a super tall person. Really, I can't reach that safely. I'd have to stand up here. I have to go up here. Now I'm trying to put it up like this, and you look very amateurish, okay? So that's why you always start on the top riser. So you're always in control. You're never working over your head. You can just start putting things up. Simple as that. You can go all the way to the top stick. And also keep in mind, when you are doing this, you don't have to go all the way to the very end of this. You know, you can go to the end, drop it back down an inch or so, boom. Simple as that. Hey, we're going to also talk about some clamps today. Not all the clamps that we use on set, but just a few that get used quite often. First, we're going to start off with the quacker clamp, or a platypus. I know, it's weird. Sometimes it's also called a duck bill. It is basically a vice grip with a little baby pin on there and these pieces of metal right here. What do we use this for? Well, sometimes we need to use a little bit of reflection. Put it in there, clamp it down, put this right into the receiver on the C stand. You can angle it, set it, and forget it, like Ron Popeil would say. We also have two of my favorite clamps right here. It's actually the same brand, but a little bit different. These are called Cardellini's. Matthews Studio Equipment also makes some. They call theirs the Mathelinis, and there's a few other companies that make them as well. Now, the difference between these two is where the jaw is. This would be considered an end jaw. This one, a center jaw. And so these clamps are very versatile. I think they are probably one of my favorite clamps that I use on set. I use them all the time. They can hold a variety of things. These can go up to about a 3-inch wide grab or a bite on there. You do have other ones that can go quite a bit larger as well, but I love these clamps. Next, let's talk about this one. This is another very versatile clamp. It is called the Mafer or Super Clamp. It also has this baby pin in here. One nice thing about these is you can take this baby pin out, and it can have other adapters that can go in here to do other things. But most of the time on set, you are going to see it like this. I'm going to tighten that down. And again, this just opens right up. So the wider you go, the better it is. So you can grab right onto tables. You can grab onto pipes with the way that it is notched out in here. Allows you to grab on a variety of surfaces. This guy right here, it's called a fathead. It's called a lollipop. You can see why. It does have that junior receiver. So just like on the C-stand with the turtle base, this could go right in there. You could put something in here like maybe the Quacker or Cardellini into one of these, set a light in there. You could do all sorts of things with this. We'll also use these a lot when we're rigging big overhead diffusions and silks. We'll slide this out so we can get the ear of the frame in there, tighten it up. Again, very versatile, very nice big clamp. It's also called a 4.5-inch knuckle. And the last little clamp we're going to talk about today is one of my favorites when you're working in a business, okay? Because what do most businesses have? They have a drop ceiling, right? And so you can just take this little scissor clamp, open it up, close it around the frame, tighten it up, and you can hang that light from the ceiling. Simple as that. Well, that wraps up this little section of some of the tools and clamps that we do use on set on a daily basis. Hope you had some fun, hope you learned some new things, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your time here at the festival.